Greetings and welcome to this week's edition of 401k Real Talk. This is Fred Barstein, contributing editor at wealthmanagement.com's RPA Edge and CEO at Trow, TPSU, and 401k TV. I review all of last week's stories and select the 5 most important and interesting ones, providing open, honest, and candid discussion you will not get anywhere else. So let's get real. First story, and what is a changing of the guard? Voya's Charlie Nelson is stepping back as Chief Growth Officer, remaining as Vice Chair and advisor to Voya's new CEO and President, Heather LaValle, until 2023 second quarter. Rob Grubka, who joined to head up Voya's health division from Lincoln, will assume a newly created role as CEO of Worksite Solutions, including health and wealth, reporting to LaValle. Of the 5 RPA 401k, the Fab 5 RPA 401k record keepers, Voya is the most focused on the convergence of health and retirement, doubling down with the recent $570 million acquisition of cloud-based Benefit Focus, while Empower bought Personal Capital for $1 billion. Nelson is a well-respected DC industry pioneer who led the emergence of Great West as a real force, which became the base not just of Empower, but also their acquisition integration capabilities. Will be interesting to see what's next for Nelson and how Voya fares without his sage guidance. Next story, as previously reported, Bloom, a Fintech wellness and managed account provider, recently shut down, leaving clients with $5.6 billion to wonder what will become of their assets. An RAA Biz column reports that Morgan Stanley hired Bloom's CEO and 12 of 13 full-time employees the day after the announcement, while buying some assets, but not the brand or business, leaving some to wonder whether there are regulatory and legal issues that they did not want to assume. Bloom was said to have used client credentials to manage their DC accounts, which is now frowned upon by most. Questions remain, like the use of client data and what becomes of the accounts. And no doubt it is difficult for smaller independent managed account providers to compete with the likes of Edelman Financial Engines and Morningstar, as well as Next Capital, now owned by Goldman Sachs, which is likely why TA Associates sold Stadion to Smart Pensions. Next story, the lawsuit by Wood Group participants represented by Schlichter against the $2.4 billion plan, as well as FlexPath and NFP for the recommendations of FlexPath's target date CITs, is going to trial and will be closely watched by RPA firms and advisors alike. Citing the potentially profound conflicts of interest and the lack of proper due diligence by the plan, the judge allowed the case to proceed, leaving many RPAs to wonder whether they can recommend investments for which they either have an interest or receive additional compensation. Though some ERISA legal experts claim that advisors can recommend proprietary investments with disclosure, as Aon did in the Lowe's case, plan sponsors may be uncomfortable hiring advisors that are supposed to represent their best interest if they have profound conflicts. If successful, look for a real run on lawsuits against plans using FlexPath investments and their affiliated advisors. More to come. Next story, speaking of RPA compensation and the factors pushing RPAs to look for additional revenue, my column last week asked how RPAs can combat the decline of triple F plan level fees. For example, it is rumored that a large RPA aggregator bid $35,000 on a $1.3 billion plan, or 0.27 basis points, but could be garnering an additional $2.5 million in participant wealth services. Intelligence estimates that wealth services accounts for $250 per month, or 88% of the estimated $283 per month participant fees for wealth, health, and retirement services. And while it's tempting to create or offer investments like FlexPath or advisor-managed accounts to generate additional revenue, it seems safer to offer wealth services like CapTrust and Intelligence are pursuing. There's a reason that Morgan Stanley sold their investment division to Legg Mason and Merrill to BlackRock to avoid these perceived conflicts of interest. Finally, while there is bipartisan support of Secure 2.0, Senators Cardin and Portman expressed concern at a recent EBRI event that time may be running out to get the bill passed this year unless it is attached to the spending bill. Remember, there was similar consensus for Secure 1.0 in 2015, but it did not pass until attached to the 2019 spending bill. Congress failed similar attempts last year, which would have included a federal mandate. The Republican-controlled House will not be a problem if Secure 2.0 does not pass this year. Restarting the process next year could result in significant delays, which would be unfortunate. So those were the most important stories from the past week. I listed a few other stories I thought were worth reading. Please let me know if I missed anything or if you have any comments. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you next week on 401k Real Talk.